an unattractive girl is determined to get a beautiful makeover, turning from an ugly duckling into a swan to take revenge on the person who hurt her father and younger sister. Hey guys, we're back. So let's see which movie is waiting for us today. Khaen is the son of a real estate mogul in Bangkok, who is following his father's orders to find the owner of the Daobadon orchard to convince him to sell the riverside land. Dao is actually the girl who had a car accident with Khaen. She was about to demand compensation when she heard him mention her father's orchard, so she led him there. As soon as Khaen reached the gate, he was knocked out, and when he woke up, he found himself lying in a pile of straw with his clothes stripped off, so he had to call his best friend Seduce to rescue him. Khaen doesn't give up that easily. The harder something is to get, the more he feels he must have it. Mr. Saen and his daughter are celebrating because they chased away the bad people who wanted to steal their land. Even if he dies, he refuses to sell the land to them. Dao went home and saw her sister who rarely visits, so she happily ran to her. But her father wasn't as happy. Ingjin is well educated and has a bachelor's degree, so she wants to live in Bangkok and doesn't want to be stuck in the small countryside. She only came home this time to get her papers to apply for a job. This trip failed to get the land, which made Khaen's parents very angry, and his sister and her husband kept poking their noses in and nitpicking. Khaen also has an older son named Oka, nicknamed Pika, whom he loves very much. Uncle Nu and her father both dislike Jan because she always denies her roots. Ingdeo knew her sister was planning to apply for a job at the Thanakan Estate Company, so she rushed to stop her and told her the truth about the shady things they did to force their father to sell the land. Just as the two sisters went to Bangkok, Ramita and her husband sent people to the orchard to cause trouble and even used a gun to threaten them, causing Mr. Saen to have a heart attack. Khaen found out that the new employee was the daughter of Mr. Saen Nakarat, the owner of the land he wanted, so he immediately planned a way to get close to her. He hired her and then acted like he fell deeply in love at first sight, making Jan stick to him like glue and unable to let go. Mr. Saen was afraid his illness would be fatal, so he prepared a will, leaving the orchard to his older daughter Ingdeo and the riverside land to his youngest daughter Ingjin. Dao warned her sister that she'd better not get involved with the Thanakan group, because they have done unacceptable things. When Jan heard her dad was in the hospital because of their schemes, she agreed with her sister to quit her job the next day. Meanwhile, Siu was being forced by his dad to go on a blind date, and the girl turned out to be Ingdeo's best friend, Matding, a total spiritual fanatic. On the day of the date, Siu used the excuse of going to the bathroom to run away, but Matding couldn't escape her parents, so she intentionally dressed in a ridiculous outfit that almost gave Siu's dad a heart attack, though he clearly still liked her as a daughter-in-law. Jan told Khaen the truth about what his family had done to her father. He even acted like he wanted to apologize, but Mr. Saen brushed him off. Young and reckless Ingjin, feeling pushed away by her father, trusted Khaen's words even more. She happened to overhear Khaen arguing with his father and Pa-sun about the land and felt extremely guilty, not knowing it was just a trap the father and son had set to wait for her to fall into it. Khaen took her home to introduce her as his girlfriend, and his whole family acted so loving and caring that Jan believed she had found her destiny. Khaen's son had been sent away early to stay out of sight, but the boy accidentally bumped into Ingdeo and even became quite close to her. Pika came home earlier than expected and saw everyone playing and singing without him, so he sprayed water on Ingdeo with a water gun. The party had to end quickly, and Khaen took her home. By then, Jan was head over heels for him. Her father called both sisters home because he wanted to give her the land deed. Even though he can be harsh, he truly loves his daughter. However, as soon as she got the deed in her hands, she immediately gave it to Khaen, saying that whatever belonged to her also belonged to him. Khaen happily brought his prize home to show off to his family, which made his sister and brother-in-law boil with rage since they couldn't do anything, and his dad even gave him a trip to Singapore. The ruthless Ramita was assigned to find Ingjin and convince her to sign the land over to them for a dirt cheap price. She invited Ingjin to lunch and arranged for a lawyer to bring the papers to trick her into signing. After being stood up at the blind date, Matding went to see Siu's father to ask about him, then pretended to be a model at a casting to set up a hotel meeting with him. Seeing such a bold girl on their first meeting made him think he had caught some good bait. To his surprise, Matding tricked him into the hotel room, tied him up, blindfolded him, and took his clothes, leaving Siu screaming in despair. Mr. Saen heard that people had brought machinery to start construction on the riverside land, so he rushed over and saw the black and white proof that Ingjin had signed the land over to Thanakan for a tiny amount, which caused him to have a heart attack and faint on the spot. Rose, Khaen's delusional lover, just returned from Paris and heard that Ingjin had been seeing her man lately, so she rushed over to confront her. Jan was naive at first, claiming she was Khaen's girlfriend, but after the other woman woke her up to the truth, she realized she had been played. She left Khaen's room in a daze and ran to the Thanakan house, but the servants heartlessly kicked her out. Seeing Ta and her mother coming back from shopping, she rushed over to ask them, but she was not only slapped with the truth but also insulted mercilessly by Ta, leaving her crying in hopelessness. Ingjin ran to a bridge, thinking back on the sugar-coated bullets that family had given her, and felt pure misery. Mr. Saen was rushed to the hospital in time, so he woke up and is no longer in critical condition. Ingjin just got home and heard the news about her sick father, so she rushed out and ran into her sister, who had just come to Bangkok to find her. Ingdeo didn't blame her naive sister for being tricked. Instead, She was furious at the scammers who took advantage of her sister's trust for profit. Jan still loved Songkran deeply and cried her heart out, unable to accept the truth. Ingdeo went to the Thanakan house alone to settle the score. They even had the nerve to raise the land price 5 times, so she got angry and gave the whole family a beating. She is determined to get revenge for her sister in this lifetime. Ingjin went home and was scolded by her father until she fainted from stress. Songkran just got back from Singapore and heard that Jan quit her job. He went to her boarding house to find her, but Rin kicked him out and told him never to come back for her friend. Songkran even had the nerve to call Jan to apologize, but his words only made her more heartbroken. Ingjin didn't need money, but the one thing she needed he couldn't give. Being so heartbroken, Jan tried to kill herself, but luckily her father found her in time and took her to the hospital. Ingdeo looked at her sister with a heavy heart and decided to go to Bangkok to get revenge. Mating took her to a beauty salon and, ignoring her friend's resistance, dragged her along to get a full-body makeover. In just one afternoon, Ingdeo turned from an ugly duckling into a stunningly beautiful woman. The huge mole near her mouth was removed. The makeup and hair made Ingdeo feel uncomfortable and squirmy for the first time, but the final result left Mating speechless. The final step in her transformation was changing her posture and gestures, turning her into a charming woman. To get close to Songkran without raising suspicion, she changed her name to Dao Prabap and attended the grand opening of a new high-end bar. Ingdeo, now a swan, caught everyone's eye wherever she walked, and especially Songkran, who was so captivated that he couldn't look away. Rose saw her dream man about to be stolen, so she stepped up to slap Dao but got punched so hard her nose cartilage shifted. Songkran even stepped in to stop it and protected Dao, which made Rose furious. Dao found out that the guy who stood Mating up was Songkran's best friend, so she teamed up with her to set a trap, forcing Siu to kneel and apologize loudly for embarrassing her. To recruit Dao for his modeling agency, he had to suck it up and do what Mating asked. Rose heard from Songkran's secretary and went to Siu to stop him from signing the contract with Dao, or else Rose would cancel her own contract. She was sure Songkran's next project would feature her as the face of the brand, which gave her the confidence to make such a threat. Unfortunately for her, because he wanted to win over the beautiful Dao Prabap, he made her the new brand ambassador with the excuse that they needed to reach more diverse users and attract more customers in today's changing market. On the company's 30th anniversary, Dao appeared stunning in a green dress for the eco-friendly theme, which left everyone speechless. Rose and her manager were furious but couldn't do anything except blame each other. After the ceremony, Dao happened to run into Songkran's son, Oka, again. The boy still remembered the pretty sister who took him out that day. Since it wouldn't be good if his dad found out, she made a pinky swear with Oka. As long as he didn't mention they had met before, she would spend time playing with him. Pika rarely likes any woman around his dad as much as Dao. He even actively invited her to hang out with the two of them. They looked just like a happy family, the mother and son playing while the father stood nearby recording their happy moments. Songkran's smooth talk, affectionate actions and gaze almost made Dao forget her goal. She made an excuse to go to the bathroom to get her head straight, where she accidentally ran into Rin nearby. To avoid suspicion, she promised to go to Rin's place tonight to explain everything. Dao ended up telling Rin about her revenge plan and asked her to keep it a secret from everyone. She was even kind enough to pay Rin's rent. Seeing that Rin's job wasn't going well, she also promised to find her a new one. At home, Jan wanted to go to the orchard with Meng to clear her head. Hearing the boy talk about everything Dao had done made her admire her. But Jan always weighs the pros and cons. Seeing kids picking fruit to eat, she wanted to scold them, but luckily Uncle Nu arrived in time to send the kids home. He explained that Dao allowed it, saying that people here measure a millionaire by kindness, not material things. Rose saw Dao and Songkran getting close and rushed over to settle the score, but Dao used to personally take care of orchards and even drive trucks, so handling a crazy superstar was a piece of cake. Rose was beaten until she fainted, but luckily there were no serious injuries. Songkran got a call from Pika's teacher saying the boy was bullying a classmate. It turned out the other kid snatched his toy and hit him on the head, so Pika bit him. Even so, the other boy's mother insisted on punishing Pika, so Dao gave her a piece of her mind and whispered something that made the woman quickly pull her son away in a heartbeat. Dao's claim of being Pika's mother made both the father and son feel all warm inside. Since she was busy with Pika, Dao asked Siu to help Mating move her things. He started acting crazy again, so she tripped him and got his clothes all dirty. He asked to use her shower and complained about how hard he had worked, so she couldn't say no. Mating's parents happened to be home and saw the two of them falling on top of each other, while Siu was wearing nothing but a bathrobe. Rose was so jealous that she sent people to hurt Dao, causing her to crash by the side of the road and end up in the hospital. As soon as Songkran heard the news, he rushed over. Hearing Mating ask Dao if she had any enemies, he immediately guessed who was behind it. He went straight to Rose's apartment and warned her that if she ever crossed the line again, he definitely wouldn't let her get away with it. Songkran's family also found out that he and Dao were seeing each other, and although they didn't like it, they couldn't stop him. To show he was sorry, he spent the whole night at the hospital taking care of her. But clearly, no one slept well that night. Songkran was busy acting all sophisticated, shouting for her to stay away, while Dao was secretly reading the spells Mating had sent her. The next day, while her son was in a meeting, his mother, Narafat, dragged her daughter and son-in-law to the hospital to confront Dao, but she totally underestimated her. With the son out of the room, Dao kneed, kicked, and shoved the three of them to the floor in serious pain. She even boldly tore up the check Nerafat handed her. Just as Song Khan arrived, she went back to acting like a helpless little bird, nesting in his chest. She even tried to lower herself to apologize, but Song Khan stopped her, so in the end only Nerafat, Ramita, and her husband Pasan were left fuming. At home, Jan was being meddlesome and wanted to help her dad make a profit, so she put up signs to charge people at the orchard, which made the number of visitors drop significantly and affected the neighbors' businesses. They came to complain to Mr. Saen, and she got a real earful. Nerafat wasn't going to let Dao off that easily. Pasan and his wife suggested a plan to humiliate Dao, but Pika heard everything and cleverly warned her ahead of time. Ma Ding even prepared a bunch of spells specifically for her friend. Dao went to their house as planned, determined to play her part to the end. She was now Dao Prabap, the daughter of a horse ranch owner with locations all over the world, whose parents often did business in Europe and even bought a castle there, so they rarely returned to Thailand. The meal was the best part. Nerafat specifically had a bowl of chili soup prepared for her but claimed it was tomato soup. Dao cleverly made an excuse that Song Khan's mother didn't have enough and swapped bowls with her, forcing the woman to eat it until her cheeks turned bright red and tears welled up in her eyes. Aunt Mio even prepared a plate full of insects for her, but Dao acted thrilled, ate a bite, and then grabbed handfuls to stuff into the family members' mouths, making Ramita and her mother run off to throw up. After the meal, Pika kept snacking but unfortunately started choking. While the whole family was panicking, Dao appeared and quickly helped the boy spit the candy out. Song Khan hugged his son tightly, and seeing him like that made her heart melt. Even in his sleep, Pika whispered, "Sister Dao, please don't leave me." Jan still couldn't get Song Khan out of her head. She often checked his Instagram to look at his photos and would constantly stare at the bracelet he gave her, crying silently to herself. So her father wouldn't worry, she told him that starting tomorrow, she would help him take care of the orchard. News Coffee Shop had two customers. One was a girl who visited often because she was crazy about the owner, and the other was a photographer. These two would argue whenever they were near each other, giving New such a headache that he told them if they wanted to fight, they should go do it out in the fields. Since Pika's nanny, Ming, went home to care for her mother, Song Khan invited Dao to be the new nanny, despite his family's protests. Ma Ding tried to stop her, but Dao figured she had to enter the tiger's den to catch the tiger. Dao quickly packed her bags and moved into Song Khan's house, and for now, she is sharing a room with Pika. He immediately made an excuse about wanting to sleep with his son just so he could sleep near Dao, but she turned him down. Mr. Thanakin and his son-in-law were out talking business until midnight. Nerafat had to call them like crazy before they finally showed their faces, with messy clothes and clear lipstick marks on their faces. The two of them sneaked around downstairs to fix their clothes, then walked up confidently, claiming they just got back from meeting clients from Singapore and Vietnam who gave them a major headache. As soon as his wife heard that, she started worrying and asking questions, completely forgetting that they were late. Siu's father went all the way to the office to give him a hard time, telling him that if he doesn't marry Ma Ding, he should get ready to shut down the company. So when Ma Ding got home, she found Siu talking to her parents. After politely asking them to leave, he straight up asked her to marry him, but she just teased him and called him a green caterpillar. In the middle of the night, Mr. Thanakin sneaked toward Dao's room, but Song Khan, who was guarding the door, caught him by the leg. He lied and said he was just checking on his grandson. The next day at breakfast, Dao hinted at the two hungry ghosts wandering near her room last night, which made the father feel very guilty. Song Khan's mother and sister watched them from upstairs. Seeing the two acting all lovey-dovey was a total eyesore for them, and they remarked how lucky it was that the boss and Pasan weren't so easily fooled. But the Pasan she talked about was actually a flirt at the office. He saw Rin filling out a job application and rushed over to hit on her, but when he saw the other half of her face, he screamed and mocked her for being ghost-faced, which made Rin furious. Song Khan showed up just in time and saved her from that creep, which gave Rin an even better chance of getting hired. Every time Dao appeared, she made the men in the house swoon, making Nerafat and Ramita even angrier because they couldn't do a thing about it. Dao might be mean or flirtatious with others, but she was always as gentle as possible with Pika. Song Khan always took every chance to get close to her, even sneaking into the room to flirt with her after his son fell asleep. The next day, Song Khan, Dao, and Pika went into the kitchen to make breakfast together. He happily took a photo of his son and the back of the woman he loved and posted it online. When Jan saw it, she was heartbroken because she still couldn't forget that jerk. Nu has deep feelings for Dao, and Mr. Sang even promised he could marry her. But Nu himself isn't so sure about that decision. While the three were having a happy breakfast, those mean people showed up to start trouble, with Nerafat leading the way to mock her for having no manners and even forcing Dao to cook porridge for the whole family. Of course, she agreed to cook and even added a little special seasoning just for them. This time, Nerafat was careful and made her taste it first. Seeing Dao hesitate, Song Khan grabbed her bowl and ate it all, then dumped everyone else's porridge into the trash. All that day, Song Khan had a major case of the runs until he looked totally drained. He had no energy and just lay limp on the bed, even having to crawl to the bathroom right in the middle of a romantic moment with Dao. Ma Ting laughed her head off after hearing her friend talk about her big win. She saw Siu, who had just come to her house begging to marry her the other day, now happily hugging a pretty young girl. Ma Ting immediately pretended to be a pregnant woman looking for her husband, crying so hard that the girl next to him, Tuktig, slapped Seyu and apologized to Mating for dating him. Seyu was innocent but couldn't explain. Mating popped a water balloon so the water flowed out like her water broke, making everyone point fingers until he was so embarrassed he had to carry her away. Getting revenge on Seyu made Mating feel super satisfied. The next day, to apologize for her prank, Dao brought food she personally made for Khaen. He was enjoying the special treatment when his phone rang, so he rushed back to work. Watching the man in front of her work so seriously, Dao thought he was actually pretty handsome. While Khaen was working, Dao took a walk around the office. Secretary Sammy had already tipped off Rose, who arrived like a bull seeing red and charged into a fight with Dao. This intense catfight was quickly caught on camera by everyone, including Ramita and her husband Pa-sun. Rose tried to play dirty by having people hold Dao down to hit her with a heel, but Khaen showed up just in time to stop it and took Dao away, leaving Rose in shock. That night, Dao sneaked into Khaen's office to look for papers about her father's land and accidentally found a dried rose inside a book in the drawer. It seemed like he really cherished that flower. Khaen was furious when he caught her digging through his drawer, but Dao quickly made an excuse that she was looking for paper and pens to draw for Pika, successfully getting herself out of trouble. Aunt Mio flat out refused to help Dao with the laundry, so she had to wash the pile of clothes by hand herself. She had noticed that creep Pa-sun watching her from a distance for a while, so she pretended to pose to seduce him. Ramita saw her husband excitedly playing along with that flirt, so she rushed over to pull him away, but Dao splashed a basin of laundry water on her and then sprayed them with water, leaving them with nothing to do but scream. Rose is a famous superstar, so the news of her fighting over a man quickly spread online, ruining her reputation and causing many brands to cancel their contracts with her. Ramita took this chance to use Rose as a pawn to deal with Dao. New's coffee shop just got 2 new employees, who are the same bickering pair from before. Because they felt guilty about causing his injury, they wanted to help. New took some free time to call and check on Dao. She said she missed him and everyone else, which Aunt Mio accidentally overheard. She quickly ran to tell her boss, so Nerifat immediately came up with a plan to expose Dao's fake face. She had Aunt Mio call her down to the kitchen, and while no one was in the room, she stole her phone. This move seemed smart, but Dao was already 10 steps ahead of them. Finding nothing on her phone, Nerifat smashed it. Dao is not the type to just take it. An eye for an eye, she grabbed the woman's phone, smashed it, and then turned around and left. Nam, the new coffee shop employee, went to Mr. Seng's house to bring him coffee grounds. Finding someone to talk to, he took the boy to the back garden and explained the uses of coffee grounds. When Nam asked about his 2 daughters, his face filled with pride as he bragged about how talented and hardworking they were. Nerifat, with her broken phone, called a family meeting and had Mio tell the story as they had planned, saying that Dao started the trouble and smashed the phone. But just then Dao returned, holding a phone bag and saying she had gone to the mall to buy the latest model as a gift for her, because Mio had accidentally dropped and broken the phone. In front of everyone, Nerifat looked at Dao in disbelief and finally had to accept the gift. She was truly stuck with no way to argue. To get on her good side, Dao had to pay for the phone in 10 installments, which really hurt her wallet. But clearly, it was worth it because she gained Khaen's trust. Seyu found a new target, a female employee at New's coffee shop, so he insisted his best friend go there with him. As soon as he arrived and saw the person he was looking for, he got all excited and ditched his friend to chase after her and ask for her name. Ingjin came to bring oranges to New, and also ran into the jerk who had tricked her. As soon as Mr. Seng heard the jerk who hurt his daughter had shown up again, he grabbed a gun and went there, even wanting to kill him. Luckily, New and Jan stopped him and pulled him away so nothing happened. As soon as she got home, Jan locked herself in her room, making her father very worried. She remembered what Khaen once said about already having a girlfriend, which made her suffer immensely. To kick Dao out of the house, Nerifat and her daughter called Rose over so she could bond with Pika and take Dao's place. But Pika is a smart kid. He pretended to play with Rose and her manager. Then while they were blindfolded playing hide and seek, the boy used a slingshot to make them fall into an anthill and get bitten until their faces were swollen. Nerifat went to Dao to blame her and criticized her for teaching Pika bad things to get her kicked out, but the boy himself ran up and hugged her waist, wanting to keep Dao around no matter what. No matter how heartless she was, she still felt moved by her dear grandson's tears. Khaen saw how much his son loved Dao, so he became even more sure about wanting to marry her. Lately at work, he was influenced by his meeting with Ingjin and suggested putting the Riverside project on hold, which made his father extremely angry. Ramita and her husband took this chance to meet the father in private to talk trash, hoping to push Dao out of her spot and take over the project management. Ramita thought she was living happy days with a husband who always loved her, not knowing he lied about meeting partners for contracts while actually dating a mistress. The truth finally came out. While Dao was walking at the mall, she discovered Pa-sun flirting with his mistress and even leading her to a love hotel. She couldn't miss this chance to catch him red-handed, so she filmed everything those two were doing. Pa-sun realized someone was filming and rushed to chase them, but luckily Dao and Matting managed to get away first. This video will be a good shield for her against Pa-sun's creepy and disgusting tricks. Rin started working at the company as an assistant secretary, but because of the large birthmark on her face, everyone stayed away from her. Khaen was the one who was always ready to help and encourage her. Pa-sun didn't just act creepy toward Dao at home. He couldn't stop that habit even at the office. When he found out Dao was the one who filmed him that day, He got even angrier, dragging her into a room to try something bad, but Songkran caught him and punched him to the ground. Songkran dragged his precious brother-in-law to his sister's room, but Ramita still chose to trust her husband and even swore to expose Dao's true face. Dao's birthday arrived. She woke up early with Pika to prepare offerings and receive blessings from a monk. Her father and uncle knew back home also missed Dao very much, so they worked hard to prepare a birthday cake and brought it all the way to Bangkok to celebrate with her. Pika and his father also prepared a surprise for Dao. They invited her to go to another province for her birthday. Ma Ding was very worried when she heard the news and tried to tell her best friend not to go, but since she couldn't stop her, she prepared a peace charm for her friend to take along. Dao and the father-son duo all wore group shirts they drew themselves, dressing like a family as they headed to the campsite. Uncle Nu drove Mr. Saen and Jan to Bangkok to find Dao, but when they got there, they heard that Dao wasn't home. Jan called Ma Ding, who quickly made up a lie to cover for her friend, saying Dao was at a workshop on a hill and had no signal. Jan and her father had to go back in disappointment. But on the way, Jan accidentally saw Songkran with some girl. Even though she didn't see the face, they looked very close, making her unconsciously crush the cake box in her hand. When they got home, Mr. Saen was still annoyed because the cake box was ruined, but seeing his daughter about to cry, he quickly took the box and changed the subject. Songkran's car passed by Dao's home garden, which made her worry, but he refused to say where they were going. Finally, their car stopped on a windy hill. Songkran took responsibility for pitching the tent, setting up the tarp, cooking, and starting the fire. Even though he was clumsy, he wouldn't let anyone else touch anything. Lunch that day wasn't fancy, but they really enjoyed eating it together. Hearing that Songkran went out of town, Pa-sun took advantage of his wife being asleep and sneaked into Dao's room, thinking she was the one sleeping under the covers and quietly crawling in, only to be terrified and hide under the floor when he saw it was actually his mother-in-law. The next person was the father-in-law, who also sneaked into Dao's room, only to scream "Ghost Lady" when he realized the person there was his wife. While Dao was outside stargazing, Songkran came over, draped a warm blanket over her and gave her a gift. The book with the dried rose she had kissed on the first day they met. He opened up his heart to her, his face getting closer until their lips touched. It seemed like Dao had accepted him a little bit, as she didn't resist his affection anymore. Nerifat angrily dragged her husband and that damn son-in-law downstairs to face the music. Pa-sun quickly made up an excuse, and Ramita was foolish enough to believe everything that gold digger said. Ratchasa quickly claimed he was worried about Songkran leaving Pika home alone and came to check, which ended with his wife scratching his face all over. Nerifat became even more determined that Dao could not stay in this house any longer. Early the next morning, Songkran was daydreaming about Dao confessing her love and kissing him, but reality slapped him in the face. Pika had woken up early and tied them both together in the blanket, and seeing his dad and Dao so close made the boys plan a total success beyond imagination. Before leaving, Dao realized she lost something and rushed to find it, nearly slipping, but luckily Songkran caught her in time. This trip really brought them closer together. As soon as they got home, Nerifat used the excuse of Ming returning to kick Dao out, saying that ever since she arrived, this house hasn't had any peace. Pika immediately hugged Dao tightly, refusing to let her go, and Songkran also stood up against his mother's plan. Dao felt bad for the poor kid who had never seen his mother, so Songkran took the chance to talk her into staying. Ma Ding called her best friend, and after noticing her hesitation, she guessed right away that her friend had already fallen into the love trap. Just then, Mr. Seng called, and thanks to Ma Ding's quick reminder, she easily fooled her father. He wished his daughter a happy birthday and told her to take care of her health. After the call, Dao cried her eyes out, determined to win back what belonged to her family. Rin listened to Dao and sneaked into Songkran's room to find the land sale papers, but Pa-sun caught her. He blackmailed her, saying she had to do what he said or he'd report her to the police. Rin was scared and didn't dare to continue, so she begged Dao to let her do another job. Dao didn't want to force her, so she only asked Rin to keep listening for important information and then report back to her. Songkran refused to continue the Riverside project, but there was a much larger project in Singapore that just received a partnership offer, which made his father very satisfied. Pa-san didn't want to be left behind, so he reminded Rin to follow his orders. In the whole company full of people who looked down on Rin, only Songkran always treated her kindly and cared for her like a real friend, making Rin start wanting to make him hers. Pika was teased by his friends for being a child with only a father and no mother, so he got angry and punched a friend in the eye, causing the teacher to call the parents. At first, that parent intended to make a scene, but after hearing the whole story from the teacher, she felt ashamed and led her child away. Dao quickly went to Pika, comforted the boy, and took him home. Dao discovered her things had been rummaged through and guessed immediately that Pa-san was trying to find his affair video, so she went to find him to warn him. Pa-san of course was not afraid and even threatened her. Dao of course was not bothered, and with one phone call, she leaked that clip online. He was furious but could not do anything. If the original video were posted, his comfortable life would definitely collapse. During the meal, Amy and Pa-san showed the father the Riverside land construction project. So Dao made up a ghost story to scare that family into inviting a feng shui master to look at it. This master looked it over for a while and said this land was full of bad luck and construction must stop for 1 year, making the Khaen family extremely terrified. Dao happily watched the fortune teller she found scare that family to death. Uncle Nu passed by and saw Song Khan, so he stopped his car to warn him, Dao saw someone she knew and hurriedly covered her face, then quickly left before anyone found out she was there. Nu looked at the figure of the woman named Dao with a suspicious face. After coming back from the riverside land, Ratcha decided to pause the project for a year. This made Amy mad because she thought her dad was playing favorites to make Khaen richer than her. After hiding away for a while to meditate, Rose showed up looking all holy and tried to act friendly with everyone at the office. But when she saw ugly Rin coming out of Song Khan's office, she got angry and questioned her, even joining in to force Rin to kneel and apologize. The male lead showed up just in time to stop them and made Rose apologize to his staff. After pretending to be a couple a few times, Sinu's dad finally invited Motdang's whole family over for a fortune-telling session. But at the big moment, she admitted everything was just an act to trick the adults. Sinu realized this would ruin the whole plan, so he quickly pulled Mot outside to stop her from rambling and just kissed her right then and there. Motdang was stunned and walked away in a huff, not knowing that both sets of parents were watching from a distance and saw the whole thing. Every year around Mother's Day, Pika's mood gets really unpredictable. Today when Dao went to pick him up, the teacher said they couldn't find him, which scared her to death. It turns out the little guy was hiding in a tree all by himself, feeling sad. Dao had to promise she would show up at his school for Mother's Day. Right then, Dao got a call from her sister saying their dad back home had a fall. She lied and said she had some business to take care of in Hong Kong and would be gone for a few days. The Khaen family saw Dao getting picked up in a Bentley with a red license plate, which made them even more sure she came from a rich family. In reality, it was just a car Motdang borrowed from a friend. To keep people at home from getting suspicious, Dao put on some ugly makeup, stuck a mole back on her face, and went home to see her dad. But her dad always favoring Dao really hurt Dan's feelings. Mr. Sung wasn't the type to show affection or say, "I love you" easily, so Dan often felt lonely. Pa San told Rin to steal the phone number of the partner from Singapore, and then set up a secret meeting with Mr. Gong. He even lied, saying the dad had handed the project over to Amy, so any business should go through them. After they left, Mr. Gong called Song Khan right away to check. When Amy and her husband got home, everyone was already there, and the vibe was really tense. This time, the dad didn't hold back and yelled at the couple for being nosy and dumb, saying they almost cost the company billions of baht. Even though he didn't take it further, Song Khan wanted to know who gave him the partner's number. The next day at the office, Rin rushed to apologize, using the excuse that she got a call about her sick dad so she neglected her job. Song Khan, of course, didn't have the heart to blame her. When Dao went back to her hometown, she had to be very careful with everything she did, how she walked and how she talked. Dao was the lucky nanny invited by a billionaire son to take care of his boy. Dao went into the room and heard that Pika had just gotten over being sick but was already soaking in water, so she rushed into Song Khan's room. In the end, she didn't see the kid anywhere but only saw the dad butt naked without a stitch of clothing on standing at the door, which made her embarrassed and quickly cover her eyes. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Hello everyone, you haven't forgotten the narrator, right? Today, let's continue with the final part of the movie about the bickering couple Song Khan and INH Dao. Rin used the excuse of her sick dad to ask for time off, and Song Khan didn't suspect anything and agreed. Actually, there was no sick dad. She was really getting surgery to remove a birthmark on her face. Who knows what she's plotting. While Dao was at home, she heard that Pika had a high fever and had to go to the hospital, so she quickly asked Yu to drive her to Bangkok, stopping first at Motdang's house to put on makeup before heading to the hospital. Mrs. Na, Pat and Rose had already come to visit, but they didn't care much and mostly just picked on Dao. As soon as Dao arrived and heard them making a scene, she wanted to kick them out. Mrs. Na, Pat was about to hit her, but Song Khan quickly stepped in and took a full slap from his mother. That night, after Dao finished soothing Pika to sleep and tucked him in, she saw Song Khan exhausted and falling asleep on the sofa, so she kindly covered him with a blanket. Little did she know he wasn't asleep. He moved close to whisper to her and held Dao tight, refusing to let go until she finally spoke. Pa San got caught digging through his wife's purse and quickly made an excuse. He couldn't take it anymore and yelled at Amy, even planning to throw away her designer bags. Yet, this foolish woman still pathetically begged her husband not to leave her. After being off work for over a month, Rin also returned, dressing boldly and wearing pretty makeup, making both Sammy and Dao almost not recognize her. Seeing Rin so confident and changed made Dao happy for her. She didn't need Rin to keep stealing documents for her anymore, as long as Rin could live happily from now on. But Rin wasn't like that. She had been harboring hatred and jealousy ever since Song Khan fell for Dao. When T went back to the city to work as an influencer, she kept getting comments from fans asking to see Yu on screen, so she shamelessly asked him to film a video with her. Unexpectedly, at the last minute, he changed his mind and asked her to help pick out clothes for his older brother instead. Yu found out that Yu's friend was actually the girl he once met at News Cafe, so he happily followed them. By some chance, they ran into Song Khan and Dao at the mall, and Yu excitedly invited everyone to eat together. Dao was on edge the whole meal, afraid her secret identity would be found out. Looking at the way Yu kept staring at her, she guessed he probably knew something. Worried, Dao quickly changed the subject to brush it off. T was also suspicious of Dao's identity, and was determined to get to the bottom of it. Seeing how close T was with Song Khan throughout the meal made Dao feel annoyed. When they got home, Song Khan even teased her, asking if she was jealous. He was such a sweet talker that she couldn't stay mad anymore. Dao told Mote Deng about Yu, which seemed a bit concerning, but something else was even more fishy. Mote Deng showed her a photo of Rose on a date with a guy who looked exactly like Song Khaen, even though he told her he was meeting a client tonight. Because of this, Dao kept pouting, and even though Khaen tried his best to comfort her, it didn't work. He even got labeled a player and a bad guy in her eyes. Mrs. Na Pat and her daughters were happy to see the lovebirds fighting and started taunting them. Dao went up to her room to call her best friend. Anyone looking at her could tell she was super jealous, but she stubbornly refused to admit it. Besides owning a modeling agency, Siyu also acted as a relationship counselor for his best friend. He discovered a new male model in his company who looked just like Song Khaen from behind, and when he heard the guy had dinner with Rose last night, he understood everything. Thanks to Siyu's help this time, the two were finally able to make up. As soon as Rose heard that the monster-faced girl Rin had become beautiful, she rushed over to see, but she got tricked by Rin, who acted weak so Song Khaen would misunderstand. He cut ties with Rose completely, acting as if they had never known each other. Rin also took advantage of this chance to take Song Khaen back to her apartment. In front of the male lead, she acted all innocent, but as soon as he left, her scheming vixen face was clear to see. Mote Deng saw her friend almost wanting to wreck the plan, so she reminded her that the original goal was to win back honor for her dad and sister, and to get the land back too. You'd better not fall in love with Song Khaen. Love and hate just can't go together. The next morning, as soon as Pika went down to the dining room, he heard the adults in the house say Dao had left him, which hurt Pika's feelings, so he ran up to his room and stayed under the covers without saying a word. Song Khaen gently comforted his son, and then went to school with him for Mother's Day. Pika kept looking outside waiting for Dao, and he angrily revealed the secret between him and Dao. When it was Pika's turn for the flower ceremony for mothers, the fat kid next to him started making fun of him, and that kid's mother was also rude and spoke up to mock him. Luckily, other parents and students were very sympathetic and even cheered for Pika. Right at the big moment, Dao arrived, making Pika extremely happy. The boy hugged her tight and whispered that he wanted Dao to be his mom. While Song Khaen wasn't at the office, Rin went into Pa San's room, softly saying she understood and wanted to be with him, and she almost got caught by Arami. Pa San, who was acting tough just a moment ago, immediately tucked his tail like a puppy and hid behind Arami as soon as he saw his wife walk in. Pika was happy that he finally had a mother for Mother's Day this year. Right then, a woman came to his school looking for him. She was Mona, the boy's biological mother. After many years of abandoning her child and husband to run after another man, now she came back to demand custody and wanted to return to the Khaen house. Song Khaen remembered the day she left right after giving birth, leaving him alone to be both father and mother, taking care of the boy even while working. He would never accept her coming back. But Mona didn't give up. She even went to the house to find Pika. But the boy didn't act close to this mother he had never met. Mona even asked Dao to meet privately to act like the real wife, but Song Khaen showed up just in time. Mrs. Na Pat wasn't happy to see her shamelessly coming back either, and she forbade her son from giving her any money. Mona showing up didn't mean she liked Dao any better. She still treated her like trash and tried to drive her away. Song Khaen really cared about Dao's feelings and was worried that his family drama, the stuff with Rose, and now Mona would upset her. He apologized to her and then pulled Dao into his arms. The space was cozy, the passion was hot, and a kiss ignited a burning night of love. Dao woke up in Song Khaen's arms, and they happily teased each other. Mrs. Na Pat saw her wearing only a bathrobe coming out of her son's room and started screaming in anger, but Dao quickly blocked their slap, making the mother and daughter furious but unable to do anything. Pika was a good boy and very understanding. Even when Dao wasn't there, he took care of his own hygiene and changed his clothes, even saying he loved Dao and wanted her to be his mom. Pa San saw Rin getting close to Khaen at the office and got annoyed, reminding her that he had a shameful video of her, so she'd better behave and remember who the real boss was. Dao thought back to everything that happened, what her sister and her dad went through, and Pika's happy face, which made her feel really conflicted. Yu, who was by her side, gave her a tissue and was kind enough to give her his phone number so she could talk to him whenever she needed. Rin took a photo of Yu holding Dao at the mall earlier and showed it to Song Khaen, thinking one picture could change how he felt about her, because after that, he even took her to pick out a ring and asked her which one she liked the most. Rin was so happy she couldn't believe it, and she quickly picked the ring she liked best. She thought she was going to become its owner, but even when they got home, Song Khaen didn't do anything. As soon as the male lead left, Pa San showed up. He was so annoyed seeing Rin all giddy with Song Khaen. Rin was scared he'd do something, so she knelt down and pathetically begged him, trying to suck up to him. As soon as Song Khaen got home, he heard Dao call him husband, and referred to herself as his wife, which made him super happy inside. But since his mom and sister were there, he couldn't just openly smile about it. The male lead took the female lead out privately to ask about the photo with Yu, and she just explained that he caught her from falling. Of course, he trusted the woman he loved 100% and didn't doubt her at all. Back home, Mr. Song saw that his daughter hadn't forgotten the jerk who cheated her, so he looked for people for her to go on blind dates with. But in the end, Dan turned them all down. Dan told her dad not to worry about her, saying she was strong now and would go back to Bangkok to work. Mr. Song saw his daughter heading back to the place that had ruined her life, so he got angry and walked away. Mona kept showing up, and this time Song Khaen wanted to finish things once and for all, so he gave her a check, But that wasn't enough for her. Mona got angry when she found out he wouldn't let her come back but wanted Dao to be Pika's stepmom instead. So she slapped Dao and tried to make a big scene. But Dao yelled at her to shut up and spoke her mind, leaving Mona speechless. She had to take the check and leave. Siyu went to Motdang's house in a suit with super nerdy glasses, and she totally roasted him, even accidentally admitting she liked his old style better. Today he came over again, but this time he wanted to ask Motdang's mom to let him join their spiritual practice. Even though Siyu didn't want to, he had to do it or his dad wouldn't give him a single penny. Song also found out his sister and her husband were stealing money from the company. Out of family loyalty, he didn't tell his dad but called them in for a private talk. If they couldn't pay back the money within a month, Amy and her husband knew exactly what the outcome would be. Since Saen couldn't win in a fair fight, he hired people to attack from behind, which led to the male lead getting slashed on his arm. Rin saw he was in a tight spot, so she talked Saen into gambling. He won big in the first few rounds, which was enough for him to bring the money home for his wife to pay back the company debt. Rin saw that Saen was getting in too deep, so she whispered and talked him into tricking his wife into gambling. Lately, Saen kept coming home late, making Mr. Rha suspicious. He lied and said he was working his tail off to cover for Khaen, who was too busy being in love. As soon as he finished talking, Dao roasted him so hard he couldn't say a word, so he just had to sit there and take it. At his first meditation retreat, Siyu fell asleep and acted up, which made Motdang so mad she wanted to kick him out. Song took Rin to a beach villa, making her think he was going to propose to her. But what he actually said totally crushed her dreams. When Rin heard Song wanted to propose to Dao, she couldn't help but cry. She thought about telling him the whole truth, but she didn't go through with it. Rin went home and trashed everything on her table, determined to get back at Dao. She asked Dao out to talk and tricked her into talking about her revenge plan, getting her to admit the whole scheme without knowing it was all being recorded. Rin gave the video to Rose, using her to get Dao out of the way and end her relationship with Song. Dan told her dad about her plan to move to Bangkok, and just hearing that made his blood pressure skyrocket as he chewed her out. Dan felt hurt by her dad's harsh words and was set on leaving. When Uncle Nu saw her crying, she thought he would judge her too, but he just kindly wished her success. Pika was thrilled to go to the beach with his dad and Dao. They went to the same beach Song once took Rin to and played by the ocean all day long. When the big moment came, the two of them dressed up in sharp clothes blindfolded Dao, and led her to a spot they had set up earlier. Dao saw a path lined with reeds on both sides, and in the middle were photos of the three of them looking like a happy family. She turned around and saw the male lead down on one knee with a ring box, sincerely asking her to marry him. Dao was speechless with surprise, but just as he was about to put the ring on her finger, Rose and her manager showed up and handed the video of Dao's talk with Rin to Song. They thought it would break the couple up and Song would dump Dao since she had admitted everything herself. Pika stood there and told his dad not to be mad at Dao because he still loved her. Song agreed and admitted he had known the truth for a long time. Dao couldn't believe her ears. It turned out he had recognized her from the very first time they met again when she was under the name Ba Rat. At first he just wanted to see what she was up to, but then he couldn't stop himself from falling head over heels for her. Dao angrily pulled her hand away and slapped Song. She felt like a clown and a total fool for letting him play her like that. He tried to hold her back, promising to give the land back and apologize to her dad and sister, while Pika hugged her legs to stop her from leaving. But Dao's mind was made up and she left. Motdang had just gotten back when she saw why he dropped Dao off, and she ran over to hug her friend as Dao burst into tears. Dao told her best friend everything. She felt like she was the real loser because she had fallen so hard for him that she couldn't let go. A heartbroken Song carried his son home. Pika kept calling out for Dao in his sleep, and when he woke up, he begged to go find her. Dao wasn't doing well either. She didn't eat or drink and just stayed in her room alone. Mrs. Na Pat and Amy went all the way to Motdang's house demanding to see the female lead, and they even planned to lay a hand on her. When Dao came downstairs, the woman gave her a slap and cursed her out badly. Only now did she realize the person standing in front of her was Mr. Seng's daughter, the owner of the land. Song followed them too. He sent his mother and sister away first and stayed behind to talk to Dao privately. This time she was determined to cut ties. She told Song to get out of her life, and she didn't care if he didn't believe her. Siyu saw his friend losing his cool, so he stepped in to calm him down, saying they should wait until Dao calmed down to talk. Dao also left the city and went back to the countryside. As soon as she got home, she hugged her dad and told him the whole truth, including how she ruined the plan. When Mr. Song saw that his daughter's heart was broken again by that jerk, he grabbed a gun and wanted to go find him. Luckily, everyone stopped him before he did anything wrong. Rose just found out she was being used, so she went to confront Rin, but Rin wasn't scared at all and even called her stupid for getting tricked. Rose was so mad she slapped her repeatedly. If they hadn't been caught, Rin would have been in real trouble. Rin and Saen were busy planning to strip Amy of all her assets. She was both greedy and foolish, so as soon as she saw a quick and easy way to make money, she rushed to the casino with her husband. Pika hid from Ming and used a phone to call Dao. Song then went straight to the house to find Dao and handed the land deed to Mr. Song. Mr. Song got so angry he was about to shoot him. Luckily Dao stopped him, otherwise he'd be 6 feet under by now. After Song gave the land back to Dao, he left, but before going, he turned back to look at her until her dad dragged her inside. When Mr. Rha found out his son ruined a billion-baht project over a girl, he slapped him in anger. Plus, Rami and her husband kept badmouthing him, making Mr. the Khaen so angry that he suspended Seducing indefinitely and handed all remaining projects to Saen and his wife. As soon as Saen was put in charge, he acted super arrogant, bossing everyone around. He was even about to mess around with Rin in his new office when Rami walked in. Pika had called Dao the night before, and the next day he and Ming packed their bags to go to Dao's hometown. The female lead and her dad had just come back from a blessing ceremony when they saw the boy carrying his suitcase and quickly brought him home. After a long trip without eating, the two of them were starving and finished all the food on the table in no time. Since Pika was a rich kid born with a silver spoon, he had never seen so many animals in such a big garden. Seducing also went looking for Dao, but she chased him around the garden with a gun until he had to jump into a pond and go home wrapped in a towel. To give his dad more time with Dao, sneaky little Pika soaked the male lead's clothes in water, so Mr. Seducing had to hang them up to dry quickly. Dao told Pika she couldn't go back and had to stay to take care of her dad. After saying that, Dao hugged Pika tightly. As soon as the clothes were dry, Seducing took his son home. Mr. Seducing didn't like having the two of them there at all. Seeing his daughter so heartbroken, he knew she had fallen for that jerk, and very deeply at that. But since she was his daughter, he just couldn't hate her. Rami was led into gambling by her husband, and the more she played, the more addicted she got. Rami lied to her mom, saying she often had to work late at night, which is why she was so exhausted during the day. Mrs. Napat noticed her daughter had been sleeping all day lately, while her son-in-law's attitude had changed so suddenly it was suspicious. Seducing went to the office to get his things and left. The staff were so sad to see the VP go like that they all tried to hold him back. Rin asked Dan to meet up, and Dan didn't even recognize her old friend. She had no idea this friend had changed and was plotting so much to hurt her and those around her. When Dan found out the truth that her sister was the one Seducing loved, she remembered everything she had seen before, all the happy times and the things Seducing had said, and she collapsed, crying in pain. Seeing her best friend in pain, Rin smugly thought she should have done this a long time ago. Uncle Nu noticed that Dao had been looking dazed lately, occasionally smiling as if she were waiting for someone. While Dao was having a meal with Uncle Nu, she got a text from Rin. When she called back, the other end was full of miserable crying. When Dao arrived, Rin said she didn't want to live anymore because Seducing had promised to marry her, but was now turning his back on her. Her act was more successful than she could have imagined, making Dao rush to the Khaen house in a rage to confront Seducing. Seducing didn't understand what Dao was saying and thought there was a misunderstanding, but Dao wasn't calm enough to listen anymore. Right in front of Nu, Seducing bluntly admitted he was Dao's husband, which made Nu snap and punch him. Luckily, his mom and Aunt Mio ran out to stop them. Dao begged Nu not to say anything about this to her dad. He understood why she was doing it, so he agreed to keep it a secret. Rami gambled until she was flat broke, then ran home to rob her dad's safe, taking all the jewelry and money to pawn so she could keep playing. She hoped she could win back the money she had lost. Moat Dang and Siyu teamed up to help their best friend, coming up with a plan to ask Rose for help in exposing Rin's true face. She recorded the admission of hurting Dao and the people around her to get close to Seducing. Dao herself, when hearing the truth, couldn't believe the innocent girl from back then could do something like that. The kind-hearted female lead still thought it was her fault for dragging Rin into this. As soon as the male lead found out his lover knew the truth, he rushed over to beg for her forgiveness, but this time Dao had made up her mind. Whether Moat Dang tried to convince her or Seducing came himself, she wouldn't agree to get back together. Rami was a mess, gambling to the point of hawking all her assets and being forced to sign a contract, but because she was in such a rush to get back to the game, she didn't care and just signed blindly, not knowing her husband was smirking triumphantly beside her. Seducing was told by his old secretary that the company was about to pool capital, so he went to ask his dad for the full story. But who knows what kind of spell Saen put on him, because Rha wouldn't listen to his son and even thought it was the right time to pool investment capital since it was necessary for the company's growth. Great, he was harboring a snake in his house without knowing it, and was tricked by Saen into signing over the company to him. Rami gambled until she was flat broke, and with the interest growing like crazy, some thugs forced her to bring the money to pay off the debt. She called her husband in a panic, not knowing he was having a good time with Rin and even giving her an expensive bracelet. The next day, when Rha went to the company, Saen triumphantly kicked him out of the chairman's seat, and by the time he realized he'd been tricked, it was already too late. The Khaen family was also kicked out of the building where they lived and had to move into an old house. Rha was so shocked that he had a heart attack and had to go to the hospital. Shameless Saen still dared to show up to taunt them, so Rami threw a vase at him and then, along with Mrs. Napat, rushed in to grab his hair. Seducing angrily punched him to the ground, while he cursed out the whole Khaen family. Rami was furious but couldn't scratch his face off. Only now did Moat Dang and Siyu clearly see the true colors and the plot of Rin and Saen. They were openly holding a shareholders meeting, and Rin bumped into a waitress with a red birthmark on her face. She was reminded of her old self and immediately fired that waitress. The feeling of stepping on someone inferior made her feel totally gleeful. Rin was confident because all the money and shares were in her name, so Saen couldn't do anything to her. She felt that if he thought about betraying her, they would either live together or go down together. But both of them had their own plans to kick the other one off the boat. Seducing's parents finally opened their eyes and felt regretful, but they couldn't ask anyone for help. He had to tell everyone in the family to stay strong and that they would start over together. Dao heard about what happened to Song Khan's family, and Pika also called, wanting her to see his dad to comfort him. Song Khan looked at pictures of her being happy and thought he shouldn't bother her anymore, letting her live her happy life. Arami saw a photo Rin posted online of a necklace that was originally hers, so she went to her apartment. When she got there, she saw the cheating couple together. Arami used a bottle of acid and splashed it right in Rin's face, making her fall to the ground in pain. Then she used a gun and kept shooting until her jerk of a husband died. When the police arrived, she turned herself in. The whole time she stayed by her husband's side, hugging his body and crying her heart out. The news was on TV and Mr. and Mrs. the Khaen saw their daughter and rushed to the police station. Arami was scared and kept begging her parents for help. She thought everyone wanted her dead, but her parents and brother said they loved her and would definitely get her out of there. But with a charge of first-degree murder, even top lawyers couldn't do anything. The only way was to encourage Arami to behave well in prison, hoping it might reduce her sentence. Mr. Song felt so satisfied hearing that the Khaen family got their karma, but Dao was super worried about Song Khan. All night she kept picking up and putting down her phone, not knowing if she should call him. To help his daughter forget Song Khan, Mr. Song tried his best to set her up with Nu, but Nu already realized Dao's heart wasn't with him, and no matter how hard he tried, it was no use. Early the next morning, Dao drove to Bangkok to find Song Khan. When Pika saw Dao, he ran up and hugged her tight. Mrs. Na Pat saw her coming and quickly tried to kick her out, even blaming her for the family's mess. Pika was smart and faked a stomachache to get everyone to leave so his dad and Dao could have some private time. Sadly, Song Khan let his son down and couldn't keep Dao there. Dao went to Mo Deng's house. Seeing her there, Siyu was very happy and gave her advice to go back to his best friend. Later, Dao went to see Rin, who was being treated at the hospital, and told her to turn over a new leaf and keep living. Sadly, she went crazy and tried to attack the female lead. Mo Deng had just said goodbye to Dao when she got a call from Song Khan asking if Dao was with Pika. Knowing Pika wasn't with Dao, he hung up in a hurry. None of the school cameras clearly showed the face of the person who picked up Pika. The teachers thought it was Dao, so they felt okay handing the boy over. Song Khan quickly called the police. On her end, Dao heard the news and also rushed off to find the kid. Why are all the villains in this movie wearing ponytails? First Rin and now Dan, maybe hanging out together for so long made it contagious. Dan used the name of Dao's sister to take Pika to an abandoned house. She also pretended she wanted to play with Pika. But when she heard the boy say playing with Dao was more fun, she lost it and yelled at Pika to shut up. Dan became jealous of her sister. Wondering why everyone always played favorites and loved Dao, she grabbed her phone to text Song Khan and her sister. When they both arrived, she forced Dao to admit she didn't love him, or else she said while pulling a gun out of her pocket. Even though Dao said she didn't love Song Khan, he said Dao was the only one he loved, which made her flip out. During the struggle, the gun went off and hit Song Khan, so he had to go to the hospital for emergency surgery. Mr. Song heard about Dao and Dan being in Bangkok and rushed to Dan's side. Then Dan finally let out all her hurt feelings, asking why her dad never bothered to ask or care about her even once. Uncle Nu stood nearby and couldn't stand Dan's stupidity, so he told Mr. Song to just tell her the whole truth. When she was a kid, Dan was very weak and got sick easily, so her mom always pampered her like a little princess. Even before she died, she told him to take good care of her daughter and not let their little princess get hurt. Dao got into college but decided to quit to help her dad with the garden, giving up the chance to go to school and the best things to her sister. Dan finally realized everything and apologized to her dad with regret. After waking up, Song Khan didn't report Dan. He even took some of the blame to help her get released and only get probation. Song Khan's work also started picking up, and he worked day and night to fill the empty space Dao left in his heart. Mr. and Mrs. the Khaen saw how deeply their son loved her and decided to support him, so the whole family went off to find a wife for their son. Mr. Song saw the Khaen family in front of his house and got angry, wanting to kick them out and even bringing out a gun to threaten them. For once, Cha and his wife spoke up to support Dao, telling her to give their son a chance. That night, Song Khan waited for everyone to fall asleep before sneaking into Dao's room. As a result, he was caught by Mr. Song the next morning and chased all the way out to the field. He was tough and absolutely refused to accept it no matter what was said. The Khaen family also refused to give up, deciding they would stay there until Mr. Song changed his mind. Mr. Song finally found out his daughter was pregnant, so he had no choice but to let them be together. But first, to show their sincerity and prove they had changed, the Khaen family had to help out in the garden for a whole day. Mr. Song had already softened up. Seeing how sincere the other family was, he finally nodded and agreed. Song Khan took the chance to propose to Dao again, and went to talk to her mother to ask for her permission himself. The ring he bought a long time ago was finally put on the person who deserved it. The wedding day arrived and the wedding held in the countryside was lively. Everyone looked radiant and excited, laughing and joking around. The bride and groom were led out by the elders from both sides, happily performing the ceremony in front of their parents. Finally, after a long road, the main couple got to be together happily. Their friends Mo Deng and Siyu also fell in love, and love started blooming between Ati and Yu too. What goes around comes around, and if you live a good life, you'll reap sweet rewards. That's true, isn't it, guys? If you love this movie, quickly give some hearts to the person who put this together. Goodbye and see you again.